2005, Leo Barry takes the mark. What's the reaction in the coach's box?
Obviously that nailed it. That shut the game down. Even if probably weren't expecting anyone to mark it because it was a big pack. Even if the ball came to ground, it was going to be a bit of a freak if someone could crumb it and snap a goal. So it was just in hope. But it was a pretty outstanding grab. I hate saying that. But we gave it a crack. You know, we had lost Phil Matura going into the game. He was our leading goal kicker. So we went in without our leading goal kicker. Quentin Lynch didn't play. I think he was either coming off some soreness. So we had a young Travis Gaspar playing centre forward for us, I think.
It was a backman.
Yeah, and hadn't played a lot of footy. So we went in with a bit of a patched up team, but took up a great fight. You know, Curry got injured in the first quarter and sort of sat out 2 quarters before, as Daniel Wood just said, I don't care if my leg's broken, just let me try and get out there and help. Things didn't go our way in that game, but we fought it out. Very proud of the boys, the way they went about it. And that fighting spirit carried through to the next year.
Why do you think with you and Sydney you had such a crazy rivalry? Like every game was close, and obviously they extended into 2006 as well. What was it about Sydney that you guys just went like nose to nose with each other every time?
Yeah, it's a good question. There was a couple of things that were going on in 2005 and probably in 2006. Flooding was a big thing in the game through that period, maybe 2004 as well, where teams would just roll back straight behind the ball, and every time you kicked it inside your forward line, it was just congested, and they would try and then get it and fast break and score. Us and Sydney didn't really play that way. We didn't subscribe to the flooding game style. So we played a bit more traditional positions, which meant we were a bit more man-on-man. There was a lot more really good one-on-one contests across the ground. So I think that's why. I mean, it's always interesting because the two teams that didn't really go into the flooding played in those 2 grand finals 2 years in a row. Not that we were miles ahead of everyone, but we had stuck to doing something against the grain of what other clubs thought was the way to go. But we're obviously evenly matched, with Bolton and Kirk and Goods running through the Sydney midfield with our players matching up. Barry Hall and Michael O'Loughlin, 2 gun forwards. They probably had us covered in that area. Lynchy and Ash Hansen, probably not quite as big a names as O'Loughlin and Hall. But we had Glass and Hunter as key defenders who have matched up on their key forwards really well. So it was just evenly matched, really good lineup, both teams.
Ultimate success in 2006 as a coach. How does that match ultimate success as a captain and as a player?
It's certainly a different feeling. Very rewarding, both of them. But as a coach, it's a bit more one pride of the playing group. So you're like a proud dad sitting up there. But also knowing the bond that those guys have formed by becoming premiership players together. Knowing that that's what it's all about. It's, you're just like anywhere in the country, you're just a group of footballers trying to be the best in your competition in that year, and it's a really special feeling when you get there because it's not one just in that year; it's one in the previous 3, 4, or 5 years of hard work and commitment, and seeing what they'd done from when I'd started coaching them, and what they'd committed to, and the training regime we'd put them through. It was a great reward for them.
I asked you about the Leo Barry moment, how you felt in the coach's box. What about? There's a few moments, the Stephen Armstrong moment, who you'd brought into the side in finals, and the Daniel Chick, Adam Hunter moments. Can you recall those? Like how you actually felt when that was happening?
Yeah, well, I remember Army had played a bit of footy that year for us, and so had Mark Lacroix, who was really young, and I think Army was on our rookie list. He'd come back after being delisted from Melbourne and been through the Bali bombings issues. But but he was a talented player, Army. So, when he latched onto that ball, I was confident like he would snap that goal, which he did, and that's what he was there for. So it was a rewarding feeling to see him do that, because it was a tough call to leave Lecker out of the last couple of finals. And then, the Hunter Chick goal was, just a phenomenal moment of just selflessness, team play, and it created that wonderful goal. But there was a couple of other incidents. Bo Waters going back to take a mark above his head after he'd really hurt his shoulder pretty bad in the game and was struggling to get it above his head, but went back and took that mark. At 3/4 time, I remember Juddy getting his shoulder strapped, and I'm looking over thinking, I'm pretty sure his shoulder had popped out and gone back in, and it's like, I'm asking the docs, is he going to be right to play? And Juddy's just looking at me going, I'm right to play. And he went on and kept tackling and kept doing his clearance stuff in that last quarter. He couldn't really lift the Premiership Cup with two hands above his head because that shoulder was just so shot. That's how sore he was post-game. And even Tyson Stengline was up all night with diarrhoea the night before the game, and the docs were telling us at 7 a.m, we don't think he's going to be right to play. And he was a key part of the way we structured up for our midfield. So we were sort of panicking about that. And the call was, if he can eat some toast at 8 o'clock and keep it down, we'll let him play. So, I think I had my hand over his mouth. I think I got someone to cover the other hole.
John,
so, keep that.
John Westall holding throat.
Yeah, no.
Throat hole.
No vomiting stinger. You got to keep that toast down, mate. But he ended up playing. He was so dehydrated and crook after the game, he couldn't join the celebrations and everything. He was seriously ill.
Did you know David Wirra did his hamstring in the first quarter?
Wirra did that a couple of times throughout the year, but seriously, we would always go, that's just Wirra. But the docs would say, no, they'd go and scan him the next week and say, he actually has done a hammy. But Wirra was a bit of a freak. He could get through that sort of stuff. So
crazy.
And he did a couple of wonderful little hard effort things that just kept the ball alive and got it to a teammate as well for us. He started in the forward line.
Yeah, we had him on this podcast and the whole week wasn't going to play. Hamstring's done. Tested it out. Got him. He played, and the first incident he had, he went to pick a ball up, and he reckons he just completely torn his hamstring.
Yeah,
and then he continued to play, and I've watched the game. He's in incidents. He's continued on. Lewis Jetta's here, everybody. By the way, he's up the back just hiding up. Lewis Jetta,
Jet boy,
in the 2018 grand final, he did both his calves. Absolutely did both his calves. I remember him speaking to me halfway through the third quarter on the ground. I'm trying to do my fucking job on Jordan Ngoe. Jet boy came up to me. Hey, bros, how you going? I was like, just concentrating at the moment, mate. It's the middle of the grand final. He said, I've done both my calves. I said, you all good? Yeah, all good, bros. Oh, no worries. Strap him up. So I know what we were talking about. The only other moment I want to speak about, and you may not have much, there was a ball very late in the game. Daniel Kerr, in all his wisdom, great player, unbelievable, has turned inboard and kicked one into the middle of the ground.
Yeah.
This came across my socials not long ago, and there's a one-on-one contest in the middle of the ground, and you're up by less than a goal, less than a minute left, and the man who wins that ball is Rowan Jones. And I think he's someone that the players and the coaches have a lot of respect for. Sometimes by fans, not as much respect. He was a big part of what you guys did that year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He was a huge part of the team.
And that moment.
Yeah, no, that moment was a game saver. I don't know what Curry was thinking. That was that seriously gave us a heart attack. He kicked
on his left.
It would have been better if he actually kicked it backwards their way along the boundary line. Just don't kick it in the middle of the ground where we are so vulnerable. And away he went. But yeah, Rowan got a fingertip on it and kept the ball alive, and we hung on. But Rowan Jones, he was a wonderful part of the team. He certainly wasn't the superstar, but he never let us down in what we were asking from him. And knowing what his role was within the team, he delivered brilliantly. People still come up to me and go, "What did you see in Rowan Jones?" And I say, I don't even bother trying to defend him anymore. I just go, he did a great job. He was seriously helped us win that grand final. by playing his role. And I often will say, if we had left him out, you should have seen who was going to replace him. It was probably a really skinny Will Schofield, although you went on the list.
No, I wasn't on the list there, Woosha.
So you get it. I can't use that one, but said, you would have hated the player that replaced him even more.
Yes, correct.
Because generally, you're not leaving better players out of the lineup.
Did you like that? Well, you should see the full episode. They're out Wednesdays on YouTube, or you can listen to them wherever you get your podcasts.